This video has been brought to you by my book, The Test of Island Courage, a Star Tropics tribute. Check it out in the description below. Hey guys, Ryan here, broadcasting all the way from space aboard the popcorn rocket for awesome video game memories, and we're here to talk about a certain console and a certain number of games for it called the Philips Cdi. And oh man, does this console have some of the shittiest games ever, and I needed some help for this one, so we got a special guest helping us out with this, so enjoy. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about...
Hey, what up, Ryan? How's it going, man?
Oh, hey, Magnetrex, what's up?
Oh, not much, just making my obligatory cameo. How are you today, man?
Well... the Nostalgia Critic sent me this Philips Cdi unit to review.
Oh, Nostalgia Critic? Really? Oh, is he here right now?
Hello, Ryan. How are you this fine day?
Oh my god, it's the Nostalgia Critic. Oh my god. Oh man, I'm such a huge fan, man. I've watched all your movies, I bought everything, I am a huge fan, man.
Why, thank you. I know I'm great. Who the hell are you?
Oh, me? Well, my name is Magnetrex, from the Boob Tube.
Is your channel about boobs?
Well, no, not exactly. I mean, I review other people's web shows and short films on YouTube, and I also...
What a ripoff! I want boobs!
Well...
You know what? Because you ripped me off, you're gonna be doing the Philips Cdi review with Ryan.
Don't
talk back, Magnet T-Rex.
It's Magnetrex, man.
It's a motherfucking T-Rex, bitch!
Yes, sir?
Now you two give me a nice review, or these bullets will make a nice home in your heads.
Ryan, how the hell did you drag me into this?
It's what the critic does.
Review!
So, the Philips Cdi. Where do we begin? Magnetrex, have you ever owned a Philips Cdi?
Nope, nor did I know anybody else who ever owned one.
Oh, same here. My first experience with the Cdi was going into Sears and seeing the game Dark Castle being played with the trackball controller.
You mean that piece of crap game where the hero is drunk all the time?
Yeah, the angry video game nerd reviewed it back in the day.
Well, no wonder nobody owned this console.
The Philips Cdi, originally conceived in 1984 as a joint production between Philips and Sony to make a CD console which would combine audio, text, and graphics.
In 1986, the Philips introduced the Compact Laser Interactive, later to be known as the name we know it today, the CDI. However, it would not be available for retail purchase until 1991.
So in 1991, the Philips Cdi was released in stores to less than stellar response thanks to Nintendo and Sega being the leaders in the video game industry at the time.
So the Philips Cdi was completely flying off the shelves, right?
Well, more like flying off the shelves into the bargain bin to make room for more Nintendo and Sega consoles.
Right.
By 1994, Philips decided to change their marketing approach to market the system as a gaming console to compete with Sega and Nintendo.
Now you're playing with... I don't know.
Of course, the most infamous of the Philips Cdi games were the Nintendo licensed ones after the Nintendo and Philips SNES CD add-on was cancelled, right after plans with Sony to make a Nintendo PlayStation CD add-on went under.
Gee, I wonder what happened to Sony after that.
Yep.
Due to their old licensing contract with Nintendo, Philips was allowed to use Nintendo's famous characters like Mario and Zelda in order to draw people to purchase a CDI.
And these games will be covered in their own separate videos, because believe me, they need their own separate videos.
I'm sorry.
Blame the critic.
Hashtag the Nostalgia Critic should review more video games.
Make sure to write that in the comments below.
So Ryan, who was the general target audience for the CDI?
Well...
Was this a computer or a console or what? I mean, can a 6-year-old actually enjoy this or...
It's kinda hard to say because the CDI was marketed as a multimedia console that could play movies, games, and especially edumatainment.
So it's a crappy version of a computer that you can play on your TV.
Exactly.
If it was capable of that, why not buy just a regular computer instead?
Well, back in the early 90s, computers were mad expensive, so Philips wanted to make some kind of alternative that you can just plug into your TV and play, just like a computer.
As far as I'm concerned, Doom never came out on the CDI.
And let's keep it that way.
Gotcha. So what kind of games were available on the CDI other than Mario and Zelda?
Since the CDI was more than just a gaming console, it tackled genres like...
So the CDI had no identity at all other than its infamy.
Correct.
In the short lifespan of the CDI, which finally was discontinued in 1996, approximately under 200 games were released for the console. And when I mean games, I say that term very loosely.
The CDI was home to tons of edumatainment software like Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia in order to take advantage of the CDI's multimedia capabilities like full motion video and CD quality sound, which you could easily get on your computer.
So the CDI was straight out of Compton, yo! And there were other fine hits like The Flowers of Robert Mapplethorpe and...
Why should we learn about sex?
For kids!
Let's not forget special edumatainment titles like A Visit to Sesame Street Letters and Numbers.
I'll bet you're good and ready to get grouchy.
Can you tell me how to get
to Sesame Street?
Hello, Sesame Street friend. I'm so happy to see you. Yay, yay!
In all honesty, there are way too many edumatainment games for the CDI, and now I think it's time to talk about the actual games.
But I have so much to learn about the CDI. Teach me, oh wise one.
If you want to get into clown college.
Well, then let's talk about the actual games.
Ah yes, the CDI has a variety of gaming hits like Jeopardy!
Hi everyone and welcome to Jeopardy! If you already know the rules, select the number of players. For game rules, select Help.
I want to play something else for 500, Alex.
Caesar's Palace!
6. 6 is the point.
The Palm Spring Opens!
Oh, that's about as wild as they get.
And many other hits!
That you could have easily gotten on your computer.
Let's not forget, the CDI had those awesome light gun games.
What? No way!
Just like the Super Scope 6, the CDI light gun required a receiver that you put on top of your TV, and you get to play arcade hits like Who Shot Johnny Rock, Drug Wars, and most importantly, Mad Dog McCree.
Yeehaw, Ride 'em Cowboy! Let's hunt that Mad Dog McCree on the CDI, boy!
That's right, Buckaroo. We be hunting that varmint Mad Dog McCree in the Wild West. Ready, partner?
Let's ride!
Yeehaw! Draw, varmint!
Have a taste of my 6-shooter, you know, good riff-raff.
Come on, Magnetrex! Let's go shoot them varmints till the cows come home!
Send these outlaw city slickers straight 6 feet under heavens to Betsy.
You looking for trouble, stranger?
No.
Dag nabbit, the CDI has slow response time, and just like the arcade, there's no blood.
Oh, beaten by the input lag. The real outlaw.
Looks like this good old boy's seen his last gunfight. Time to take him to Boot Hill.
Anyway, let's get down to the nitty and gritty, which is the reason to even play the CDI, the console exclusives. Ryan, take it away.
Ah yes, the CDI had quite a few exclusive games like the Mario and Zelda games, but it did actually have a couple of games that you couldn't get anywhere else.
First up is one of the pack-in games when Philips tried to market the CDI as a gaming console, Burn Cycle.
Burn Cycle is a cyberpunk adventure game released in 1994 which tried to take advantage of the CDI's hardware with full motion cutscenes where you're a computer hacker who needs to find a cure within a real 2-hour time limit or else the burn cycle literally kills you.
This game was actually met with positive reviews from the critics, with Electronic Gaming Monthly giving it the best CDI game of 1994, and GamePro giving it a 5 out of 5.
And next up is Chaos Control, a pretty decent on-rail shooter that puts you inside the cockpit of a fighter ship blasting away at bad guys near the Statue of Liberty. The game actually got positive reviews from critics, and GamePro magazine rated the best CDI game of 1995.
Speaking of really unique games for the CDI, Mutant Rampage Body Slam is a beat-em-up made by the same people who brought us 2 of the Zelda CDI games with the funny animation and all.
Humans are obsolete, Wolf! These guys gotta have a death wish! It's like suicide!
Coming in clear, Hectro. All right, let's jam with Body Slam.
I need not say anything more. This is the reason to own a CDI. And this game totally deserves its own review down the line.
But wait, Ryan, you're missing something that is far greater than Mutant Rampage Body Slam.
No way. What could possibly be better than Mutant Rampage Body Slam?
The true holy grail of everything CDI. The wacky world of miniature golf with Eugene Levy.
Prepare to experience 18 of the world's toughest holes, but in the comfort of your own living room. How about that, huh? So, let's go play.
Tickets, please.
Oh my god! The Eugene Levy?
Yes, the Eugene Levy of American Pie.
Eugene!
Levy!
Ah! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Wow, Ryan, with all the bad press that the CDI gets, I'm actually surprised we actually talked a lot of good games on the system.
Yeah, after spending a lot of time with the CDI, it doesn't really get enough credit because of the bad Mario and Zelda games.
But what about the console itself?
Oh yes.
And what version of the console is that?
Well, this is the 220 model. There were many different releases of the CDI throughout its lifespan.
What kind of controllers and accessories were available on the CDI?
Well, here's the standard CDI controller, although it plugs into the back of the 220 model.
In the back? Are you serious?
Sadly, yes, it's a bit of a pain in the ass to insert, but I also have this remote that was more used for edutainment games. And it came with other accessories like a mouse, wireless controllers, the trackball, and keyboards.
And where can our viewers buy a CDI exactly in its full glory?
Well, the Nostalgia Critic sent me this one, but realistically, I paid about $300 for it. Although it's refurbished, so it has a new video card to play CD games with video, and the timing belts and the CD laser were professionally replaced.
Well, I do see plenty of CDIs on eBay that are about $150 or less, so why did you pay $300 for yours?
So this is where CDI buyers need to be a bit careful. Due to the age of the CDI, many systems that haven't been cleaned or refurbished tend to have tons of problems like the CD laser not reading games, the timing belts not working, and the CD tray not closing or opening properly. Some are even missing the digital video cards needed to play full motion video, as the cards are needed to decode MPEG-1 files. Sadly, a lot of people on eBay are selling untested and possibly broken CDI consoles for $150 or less. I highly urge anyone who wants to purchase a CDI console to make sure it's fully refurbished, since it's tough to actually repair a CDI console or find anyone who can repair them. It's probably going to cost you a lot more money, but it's going to save you a lot of pain in the long run.
So which model of the CDI do you recommend? I mean, there's so many to choose from.
Well, this 220 unit is the most common aside from the 450 model. although I do recommend making sure that the seller says it's completely refurbished and professionally repaired.
And what about games?
Well, the games can be found on eBay as well for varying prices, although there are demonstration discs that were used back in the day to demo games in retail stores, which are legitimate copies of the game and are a cheaper option. However, be careful because as the age of these demo discs are over 20 years old, some of them may not function as well as they did back in the day.
And what are your final overall thoughts of the system?
Well, people tend to give this console a lot of flack because of the terrible Mario and Zelda games, but they don't realize that this was actually supposed to be a cheaper alternative to really expensive home PCs that you can play on your TV rather than a computer monitor. If you're willing to look past the Nintendo licensed games and the edutainment games, there are quite a few gems on this console. Although it entered the market way too late when Nintendo and Sega were the top consoles and many people simply didn't care about edutainment and full motion video games. Overall, it is a weird piece of video game history, and I do recommend checking it out, although it is a bit on the expensive side.
I see. And here I thought after all these years the CDI was one of the worst consoles ever to be released. But people do tend to overlook its strengths and weaknesses due to its own uniqueness. So, are we good?
Shh. Maybe the critic will let us off easy.
Well, good job, you two. Although Mr. T-Rex does still owe me boobs.
It's Magnetrex. And you want some boobs? I'll give you some boobs.
Whatever.
So, critic, can we go now?
Well, let me think. Both of you dance! Double the pain, double the pleasure!
Oh! Oh! Hey! Oh! Whoa! Hey! Oh! Come on, man! Come on! Oh! Yo! Ryan! Yo! Whoa! Oh! Yo, Ryan, is this what it's like to do a review with Nostalgia Critic every time? Oh!
Well, he made me and the rest of the Battle Geek Plus crew dance for his Hocus Pocus review!
Alright. I don't think I want to review any more stuff with you or the critic anymore.
Whoa, ho, ho! Once you review with the critic, you're reviewing with him forever!
Ah! Alright, hey, that one almost blew off my toe. Oh. Alright.
Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about...
Hello, Ryan.
Oh, hey critic, what's up?
I sent you a gift for being a part of our family at Channel Awesome.
Oh boy! Wait, how did you know where I live?
I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I know where you live, so you don't have to.
Right.
What are you waiting for? Go see what I sent you.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy! Oh my god, critic! Are you serious? Why did you send me these?
Well, excuse me, princess.
Did you know that no reviewer was ever the same after reviewing these? I mean, why didn't you send these to Angry Joe, Yomar's Gaming Wildlife, Tiger, or anybody else on Channel Awesome?
I don't see them anywhere, do you? Well, because you refused to accept my gracious gift, your punishment now is to review them!
No, critic. Anything but that!
Review them or else! The next time, I might actually aim for your head.
Okay. You win, critic, but can I at least have a little time to think this over?
Review them!
Yes, sir! Well, guys, welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. And today's game is Zelda, the Wand of Gamelon for the Philips CDI. Well, guys, this is gonna be a bit of a long one, so strap yourselves in, because oh boy, there's a lot of stuff to say about this game. And the rest, oh man. So Zelda, the Wand of Gamelon was released in 1993 for the Philips CDI. And I know what you were thinking, and we all thought the same thing back in the day. Why the hell are Nintendo-based characters on a console that we know nothing about? Why do they have their own games? Well, here's the story, guys. So back in the day, Nintendo and Philips were gonna have a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo. But then they kind of, dissolved that partnership in a way. And then they went to Sony, and then they also dissolved that partnership. It seems like Nintendo had a lot of problems trying to make CD add-ons for their consoles before the GameCube. Well, Nintendo, you kind of have to learn to play with everybody else. But no, big Nintendo, the big Ed back in the day was like, no, it's okay, we can do this ourselves. But of course, part of Nintendo's deal with Philips to produce a CD add-on was the use of their licensed characters. And because Philips kind of needed to give people a bit of an incentive to purchase a CDI, well, they exercised their rights to use that license, and they made 3 Zelda games for the Philips CDI. So Nintendo very begrudgingly, I assure you very begrudgingly, lent their licensed characters over to Philips to give people a reason to purchase the system, and we got Zelda, the Wand of Gamelon, Link, the Faces of Evil, and Zelda's Adventure. And the game we are going to be covering is Zelda, the Wand of Gamelon. So my first memories of these games were reading GamePro magazine, Electronic Gaming Monthly, and then I was like, oh, they're making Zelda games and Mario games on this console I've never heard of. Honestly, I didn't think they looked dumb at first because, I only saw screen caps and I was like, well, those just look like the cartoon. But when YouTube came about in the 2000s, and if you remember what YouTube Poop is, you're really old. Because I saw the clips of this game on YouTube Poop and I saw the Angry Video Game Nerd review on it. I was like, holy shit, these games look horrible and I have to play them! Of course, back in the day, and even now, it's really hard to find a good working CDI emulator. I know they exist, but they don't really play the games that well. But luckily, the Nostalgia Critic, in his extreme kindness, sent me these games for being part of Channel Awesome for all this time. It's one of the perks you get for working on Channel Awesome. You get to work with the Nostalgia Critic, and he sends you these really awful games for free. Because they cost so much on eBay, so he was kind enough to send them. But you know what, guys? Before Smash Brothers, this was actually the very first game that you could actually play as Princess Zelda. So for some weird reason in 1993, where The Legend of Zelda for the NES and A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo were the 2 top Zelda games, and a lot of people weren't really talking so much about The Adventure of Link, Philips decided, well, we're gonna borrow the gameplay from The Adventure of Link rather than the top-down title. Well, they did adopt the top-down titles for Zelda's Adventure, but why did Philips decide to copy the formula of the least most liked Zelda game? Because it's Philips. So the story of Zelda, the Wand of Gamelon, revolves around Mr. Duke Onkled, this guy. He asks for your father's help in trying to restore peace to his kingdom because the evil Ganon has, taken over like he usually does. Yeah, so Ganon, I know you're trying to take over Hyrule, but you want to take over other places too. And Mr. Duke Onkled definitely needs some help. So Link, being the dashing adventurer he is, decides to volunteer. And he can take on like a zillion dodongos. Man, he's so bored and he has to move his arms in these silly cutscenes. But then Link gets kidnapped. Gasp! So Zelda has to go out and rescue both Link and her father and help Mr. Duke Onkled. And yes, guys, let's talk about it. The cutscenes. Oh boy, the cutscenes. The cutscenes of this game are just a marvel to look at. Just look at them.
Zelda, Duke Onkled is under attack by the evil forces of Ganon. I'm going to Gamelon to aid him.
But Father, what if something happens to you?
Great! I can't wait to bomb some dodongos!
Whatever I see, I shall devour.
So from what I understand, these were made on a very, very low budget with some rookie animators, and well, I gotta admit, the animation, it's actually kind of lively, as silly as it looks. Like, characters are going like, oh my god, the evil Prince Ganon is like, well, princess, haha, I'm zooming in on my face. Oh boy, the dongos everywhere. What is Zelda? You have to do that. Aha, I am Ganon, the king of evil. Whoa, whoa, whoa. it's not just like pictures with moving mouths. They move in the silliest way possible. And I know clips of these have been going around YouTube for a long time, like over a decade, but you gotta see them to believe them. If you have not seen these yet, you just gotta watch them, man. So you're not in Hyrule, you are in the land of Gamelon. Oh gee, I would have never guessed that from the title, considering it's the Wand of Gamelon. I thought Gamelon was kind of a wizard, but no, it's part of this landscape that you have to go. Pretty much like most Zelda games, you're not really given any direction where to go. Okay, great. So do I go here first or here first? Do I go to the city? Do I go to this forest, this cave? Where the fuck do I go? Alright, so let's get started on the gameplay. Yes, the gameplay is a lot like Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, if you played it at 50% speed. Yes, this is exactly how fast the game moves. I am not slowing this down. This is exactly how it moves, where your characters are moving at the speed like turtles. Well, of course, your enemies kind of move slow too, but oh boy, let me get started on the enemies. Now, the hit detection in this game is brutal. Like, if you get trapped between enemies, you're dead. That's it. Like, it's so hard to get away from enemies because it takes so long to just walk to one place to another. Yeah, was Zelda like, well, I haven't gone adventuring in a long time. Okay, Link. Okay, Dad. Okay, let me catch my breath. And about the controls of this game, like, you have to press up to jump, you know, like in Kung Fu on the NES and some other games. And a lot of the times, when you press up on this controller, sometimes it accidentally makes me go left or right because, you know, this controller is a little wonky at times. And there's been a lot of times I've tried to jump forward, but I end up jumping up. And then there's a lot of times I just want to jump up, but I end up jumping either to the left or the right into enemy fire, which really sucks. Also, what really sucks about this game is, yes, Zelda has a shield, but you have to be standing perfectly still in order to block projectiles. Because if you're moving with that shield, you're gonna get hit a lot. And unlike Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, where you can still block projectiles even when you're moving, you have to be perfectly still. Like, you have to completely stop and the animation has to stop, and it will really throw you off. Believe me. And also what sucks is, yes, you start off with a crappy sword, and later in the game you do get an item that allows you to shoot beams from your sword.
Bring a heat crystal. I'll fix up your sword.
But if you get hit, you lose those beams, but then after that you get another item which allows you to shoot beams with your sword even after you've lost your life. Although this item doesn't come in way later into the game, so pretty much the majority of the game you are going to be very under-equipped and under-prepared. And I do gotta admit, the graphics are actually quite nice and detailed for the CDI system, but the problem is, there's many times where you have to jump up to reach like a hill or a door, and you don't know like where you can jump up because like the graphics don't exactly give you like a depth perception of which plane you can jump up on or climb up on. It's very confusing. And also, the music is actually pretty decent. It's nothing spectacular. I mean, it doesn't sound like generic elevator music, but it just doesn't sound like it fits in Zelda, but it's decent music. It's not something that you're gonna put on your MP3 player or your iPod, but I think the majority of the game's budget went into the music in this game. And in this game, you really have to grind a lot of rupees because you need a lot of rope, you need a lot of bombs, and you need a lot of candles. Because there's going to be a lot of parts in the game where it's completely dark and you need a candle to see. And then you need ropes to climb places. And the game does not tell you any of this. The game does not give you any clues. Like, you just kind of have to assume it for yourself through a lot of trial and error. And oh boy, there's a lot of trial and error in this game. And there's so many parts in this game that you don't even know that there's an entrance or a door there. Like, oh, I didn't know I have to go through this window in order to get to the next part of the town. Okay, I know this game is trying to be like a lot of the other Zelda games by not giving you any clues at all, but damn, I can't even find my way through a lot of these places. Well, like without a guide. And oh boy, let's talk about the bosses. If you thought the enemies were hard, and those freaking Dodongos are like nearly impossible at times, the bosses will easily one-shot you. But there is this one boss that you kill, and then he's like, "You killed me!
You've killed me!"
Good.
Good. That's all Zelda has to say. Good. Good. Great. Awesome. Spectacular. Good. Like Zelda. We've trekked through so much of this really fucking difficult game by grinding rupees, talking to crazy people who wave their motions like this, and then we have to traverse through all these crazy places that we can't even reach, and we get no clues, and all you have to say is good. 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 Great. Awesome. I'm over it. No, it's fucking great! We killed that fucking boss because that boss was hard, fucking hard! I feel great. I feel better now. I feel much better after saying that. Okay, let's continue. And then after that, you find out that Duke Onkled was a traitor! It was all Duke Onkled's plan all along to lead Zelda's dad into Ganon's territory so they could take over Hyrule. Shame on you, Duke Onkled. So you get to the final dungeon, you fight Ganon, who is definitely very fucking hard, and it's very, very fucking hard to get to Ganon, and if you lose all of your lives while trying to get to Ganon, you gotta start all over again from the beginning of the castle, which is a bitch. Getting through Ganon's castle at the end of this game is a lot of memorization, trial and error, but luckily it's not very long. I mean, it's not like Zelda 2 Great Palace long, where you can actually get lost. I mean, there's 1 or 2 rooms here that lead to nowhere, but you'll figure out your way eventually. And so after that, Zelda rescues her father and Link, and that's it. That's it. We just get one haphazard, shitty ending. Yeah. For all that trouble, we didn't get a longer, goofy-looking cutscene. Oh boy, Zelda, you rescued me. Let's have some chicken, Zelda. Oh yeah, ooh. No, just one small cutscene and hey, back to the beginning of the game. Why, Critic, why? So Zelda, the Wand of Gamelon. Everybody's been talking shit about this game for the past decade or so. Yes, it is a horrible game in almost every aspect, believe me. I mean, the music is decent, but everything about this game, the gameplay is bad. The graphics are decent, but still bad in a way that you can't, detect which plane you can jump on for platforming and shit. I mean, the controls are bad, the voice acting is horrible, the animation is actually part of its charm. And you know what? I actually have to say this. I recommend that you actually play this. Yes, play it on an emulator. There might be a working one right now. Download it. I don't freaking care. But you know what? I actually recommend buying this game. Buy the actual console itself and play it. You have to play it with your own eyes. These games are like the Room of Zelda games. You are tearing me apart, Zelda!
Good.
And yes, this game really needs to be played. I recommend that you actually play it and experience it yourself, because watching it on YouTube, yeah, you can definitely get the whole game experience there, but it's just not enough. You gotta experience it yourself with the bad controls, the bad cutscenes and everything. And you know what's crazy? The Nostalgia Critic sent me 2 of them that I wasn't able to show. Like, I have 2 of these fucking games. So if you're wondering where to get these wonderful games, well, the Nostalgia Critic sent me these, but but realistically, these games are not cheap. Oh boy. Like, this is the European version, which actually plays 100% okay on an NTSC console, so I highly recommend getting this version. It's about $113, you might have to pay $130, including shipping, or if you're gonna be a maniac, get the US version, which is over $150, but it doesn't really matter which one you get, because the European version works exactly the same, and it's a lot cheaper. Why, Zelda? Why? Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the game we're gonna talk about is...
Hello, Ryan. Have I broken you yet, or should I prolong your suffering? Oh, don't wave that thing at me, young man. You still have 2 Zelda Cdi games to review as part of our bargain, so don't think you're getting off that easily.
Why, Critic, why?
I just love watching my subordinates suffer for views. Now hop to it.
Well, the game we are covering today is Link, the Faces of Evil for the CDI. So Link the Faces of Evil came out pretty much around the same time that Zelda the Wand of Gamelon came out, and it plays pretty much exactly the same with a couple of differences here and there. Yes, we have our very silly cutscenes like in the previous game.
Gee, it sure is boring around here.
My boy, this peace is what all true warriors strive for.
I just wonder what Ganon's up to.
Shield both sword and spear deflects, but cannot stop the vilest curse. This crystal makes the shield reflect, cursing the cursor with twice the curse.
With this ruby, I replace your soul. You will obey. Ow! Ow!
And the story is, well, Zelda's kidnapped again! Oh gee, I never saw that coming. Oh, I just thought with, Zelda the Wand of Gamelon, Zelda was gonna be like unstoppable and, she would kick Ganon's ass. But nope, she's kidnapped again. And Link has to go to the land of Korodai, where the fuck that is, and rescue Zelda. Okay. So this is almost kind of like playing a 16-bit version of The Adventure of Link on the NES. But on the CDI. Why, Critic, did you do this to me? So even though the gameplay is mostly the same, yes, we have a bit of a different map this time, and I actually have to admit, I didn't do as much grinding for rupees in this game because there's something else you have to grind in this game. Is it rupees? No. Is it bombs, ropes, candles? Nope. You have to grind snowballs! Wait, why would you ever grind snowballs in a Zelda game? Well, let me explain. So, Link, the Faces of Evil. There are a lot of enemies in this game that actually require snowballs to defeat because, they're powered by fire and heat, and the only way to kill them is not with your sword. Nope, not with the Master Sword that you used to slay Ganon for all those years. Nope, snowballs.
Worthless Caridian, you must be hardened with fire! Go and kill!
So basically, this game is Link, the Snowball Adventure. Link, the Snowball of Ganon. Link, the powerful snowballs that kill Ganon's forces. I don't fucking know. But you have to throw a lot of snowballs in this game. You gotta grind a lot of snowballs, even more than rupees. And yes, there are parts in the game where there's caves where you have to light with candles, you need ropes to travel, but biggest item in this game you need are them snowballs. Oh boy. If you don't have enough snowballs, you can't even beat the game. Like, there's been so many times I've had to grind snowballs, like in between like this part and that part, And for some reason, the cutscenes in this game are a lot more erotic than Zelda Wand of Gamelon. I mean, Link has a lot of admirers in Hyrule with pretty big jugs. I'll just leave it at that. Take a look.
You're not afraid of dragons, are you?
Of course not.
Then get my necklace back from Gliok, okay? Pretty please.
My hero! Won't you please jump across that little old chasm and cut my daddy's chains? Pretty please, have a heart.
How sweet. Mwah. My husband gave me this. He's an abominum now. Here. It's not much, but it'll still carry water.
Well, Link, if things don't work out between you and Zelda, and I've seen the future they don't, you got a lot of these nice women with big, juggly breasts to choose from. So, you be getting that milk, Link.
How about a kiss? For luck?
You've got to be kidding.
And honestly, I did find the bosses of this game pretty much on par with the ones from the Wand of Gamelon.
I spy with my eyes someone who must die.
Like, they're tough, and they can kill you really fast, but also, if you're able to hit them in time, they're not too difficult.
Lucky shot! Golly!
Oh my goodness, this is awful!
Although there is one disappointment I do have with this game. Even though the cutscenes, yes, are still silly and, incredibly erotic. Like, the cutscenes in this game aren't as funny or as memorable as the ones in the Wand of Gamelon. Yeah, it's pretty much kind of standard fare. Like, there's not as much quotable stuff in this game as there was in the previous one.
It's mighty dark with all the evil about. Keep this lantern full. It'll light your way.
Thanks.
I'm simply famished.
No!
It tastes like a diarrhea. Perhaps just one more?
And yes, there's one really hard part of the game where you're climbing this mountain and frickin' boulders fly down. Boulders come crashing down on you in the mountain and they take away a lot of life. So I had to use the cape item in order to be invisible, but your magic runs out so fast in this game that you're not going to be able to dodge all of those. So you just kind of have to take some hits while you're climbing up that mountain. And the good news is Ganon's castle is a lot easier to traverse in this game. Believe it or not, yes, Ganon's castle is tough in both of the games. But you know what? It's a lot easier to traverse in this game, but getting to Ganon and actually beating him is a difficult feat in its own. Like, what sucks about the Ganon fight, like Ganon is actually at the bottom of the stairs when you try to fight him, so you have to get really, really lucky or else he's gonna kill you like really, really fast.
No! Not into the pit! It burns!
So once Reverend Ganon gets defeated in a puff of smoke, you rescue Zelda, and that's it. Just like the previous game, one half-ass ending, and then you're back to the beginning. Yep, so that's Link, the Faces of Evil. So, it's hard to say which one is the better game of the two, but I would definitely have to say the Wand of Gamelon at times is definitely a lot more difficult, but they kind of fixed a lot of it in Link, the Face of Evil, but I do think the Wand of Gamelon is a lot more funny, a lot more memorable, and yes, like I said before, Faces of Evil is a lot more erotic, if you know what I mean. And if you're wondering where to buy this absolutely wonderful game, well, I would say just join Channel Awesome and the Nostalgia Critic will give it to you like he did to me. But although in all honesty, I actually got this on eBay for $80 because it's normally worth about $150, but I was able to win an auction for it for about $80, and that's really, really lucky because I definitely would have paid twice for this, believe me. And I just gotta love how in the back of the case it says, stunning visuals and full motion animation. If you can call it full motion animation. Well, it is, but still. Damn you, critic! Damn you!
Wakey, wakey, sunshine. You still have one more game to go. I love the sound of drunk suffering in the morning. Now get to it, the audience is waiting.
Well guys, this is it. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the game we're finally talking about is Zelda's Adventure for the CDI. No more, critic! No more! So, Zelda's Adventure is the final game in this unholy trilogy of Zelda CDI games. And did it go out with a bang? Did this entire CDI unholy shitness go out with a bang? Well, let's find out. So, unlike the previous two games, Zelda the Wand of Gamelon and Link the Faces of Evil, Zelda's Adventure actually uses real actors this time to portray Zelda and somebody else. Who is this guy? Who the hell is he? Well, this is Gaspra, played by sound engineer of the game, Marc Andrade, and voiced by somebody else. So basically, Marc Andrade, he played the character, but he didn't voice the character because he was the music composer of the game. Okay? Well, ADR happens all the time. And this time, Link gets kidnapped again. Oh my god, Link got kidnapped like 2 games ago in Zelda the Wand of Gamelon, so we gotta get him back. Like, Link, you can't stay put, man. You're about becoming as bad as Zelda. Well, I guess in the CDI world, Link is more of the damsel in distress. Don't you agree? So Zelda has to go to the land of Ptolemaic. Gee, I wonder if that's backwards for something. You know, Zelda, maybe you should give King Arthur a call and something like that to help you find Link. You know, I think King Arthur is not too far from here. And Zelda has to traverse through the land of Ptolemaic to get Celestial Stones. Nope, not Triforce pieces, not crystals, Celestial Stones. Well, at least that kind of sounds Zelda-ish. So the direction, look, and style of this game are very, very different than the previous two games. Very, very less goofy, you know, more realistic. Yes, the game takes that long to load between screens. I am not kidding. I did not slow this footage down. My CDI did not glitch. This is how long it takes from Zelda to traverse from one screen to another. I gotta admit, the graphics do look kinda nice, even though they don't really fit the Zelda universe, but they look okay for what they are. There's not much I could say about that. And rather than borrowing the action platforming from Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, the game actually goes back to the top-down view of the first Zelda and Zelda Link to the Past, and actually, the game actually has very smooth controls. I will admit that. Yes, Zelda's Adventure has the smoothest controls out of the three games. And that's saying a lot, because believe me, you really need smooth controls for this game. And just like the rest of the Zelda games, you're given no clue, no hints on what to do, where to go, and you can actually miss your weapon at the beginning, because believe me, when I first played this, I totally missed the wand that you had to get at the beginning, which is kind of your main weapon throughout the game. And of course, you're kind of limited to where you can go in this game until you get certain items, just like a real Zelda game, so basically, this is the closest we have to a real Zelda game out of the three games on this console. And to call these Zelda games is a bit of an overstatement. And surprisingly, there's very little to no music in this game, which is very surprising, because the previous two games had a lot of, you know, music, which was pretty decent but not great, but this game is devoid of tunes. So no iconic Zelda theme, no generic elevator music, it's just Zelda's Adventure, a quiet stroll through the land of Ptolemaic. But just like the two previous games, yes, the hit detection in this game is very brutal, and if you get sandwiched between two enemies, you're dead. Like, no matter how many hearts you get, and you don't actually get a lot of hearts in this game, unlike the previous games, you're dead. You gotta really be careful, especially when you're in the dungeons. Now, the good news is the dungeons are actually relatively straightforward. There are a couple of rooms where you can get lost in, but nothing too, you know, crazy that you have to traverse. But there are a lot of times in this game where you can fall down in pits and have to start all over again. Believe me, it's a fucking pain in the ass. And you really don't want to traverse through a lot of these dungeons longer than you really have to. And a lot of the times you can't beat a lot of these enemies with just your normal wand. Yeah, like you have to switch up weapons a bit. And like you get this cool lance, but it barely works against most of the enemies. Like some enemies have to be defeated in different ways, and you don't get any clues on which weapons you have to use to beat enemies. Like you have to use like guides from GameFAQs or YouTube in order to beat this game, like I had to. And actually, the good thing about this game, actually, which is probably one of the best things about this game, is when you lose to the bosses in the dungeons, you actually start off in the room before the bosses, which is really convenient, because having to traverse through these freaking dungeons, like over and over again, is a nightmare. Believe me, like holy crap, like especially when you get to that dungeon where you have to fight the mummies, and the mummies can really do a lot of damage on you. And it's kind of funny that, you know, Gaspra gets a lot of screen time in this game, a lot of speaking lines, but Zelda, you know, the main character of this game, of basically the entire series that's named after her, does not get any speaking lines. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, Zelda should have speaking lines in this game. Like, they hired an actress to play her, like, for the full motion video, but she doesn't get to talk. I guess this is kind of Philip's way of cutting corners, you know. And once you traverse all the dungeons in Ptolemaic and get all the Celestial Stones, holy crap, what's happening? Oh shit, it's Ganon, and holy crap, Ganon actually looks menacing, like in Diablo. But Ganon's pattern is actually pretty easy to decipher. Like, he just disappears all over the place just like he does in the first Zelda game, and you just hit him and just avoid his shots, and he's actually not that hard like he is in the previous two games. He's actually a little easier than he is in Zelda, The Wand of Gamelon, and Link Faces of Evil. Like, you actually have a fighting chance against Ganon in this game. And then once you beat Ganon, you rescue budget cosplay Link, and the game is over, and that's it. You're done with Zelda's Adventure. You're done with all the freaking Zelda games on the CDI. Yay! Finally! So is Zelda's Adventure the worst game out of the bunch? Actually, not really, but it actually, in my opinion, is probably the least memorable of the games, because the game isn't exactly super terrible, and it's not exactly super goofy. I mean, it does have a lot of its goofy moments with the NPCs. Gaspra is an okay character. You know, Zelda doesn't have all these silly one-liners. The graphics take a little bit more of a realistic look, but the game overall isn't very goofy. It's actually a pretty responsive game for the most part, well, aside from the really, really slow scrolling of screens. And also, the dungeons are relatively straightforward. Tolomak, it's not that hard to get lost in because you're so limited to where you can go until you get like certain items like the raft and the ladder. And like certain items are like incredibly useless that you don't really need to use. And most enemies can be defeated with the wand, although you need other weapons to defeat other enemies, but at least most of the bosses can be defeated with the wand. So that's it. We finally end the Zelda trilogy on the CDI. And wow, and like I said before, these games have to be played to be believed. I mean, you have to play these games. Like, every reviewer pretty much says, yeah, these are the worst games ever, but I recommend you actually play them. And I know there's like a shit ton of licensing rights, and I do admit, if these games came out on the Nintendo Switch, I would buy them. I would play through them again. I would stream them on Twitch. These games really, really need to be played because they're such a strange relic in time that these weird Zelda games came out for the Philips CDI, under the rules that they had with Nintendo and their failed CD add-on. But hey, you know what? I actually recommend playing these games. And if you're wondering where to get this wonderful game, I got some good and bad news for you. The good news is it's available on eBay. The bad news is it's very, very expensive. Like, this game alone is over $300. You had to pay a lot for this game. I literally paid over $300 for this game. So, was it worth it? Well, just to make this video for you guys and the Nostalgia Critic forcing me to, yeah, it was worth it. It was worth every fucking penny. Oh my god, please don't get this game. Well, no, get this game, get it. But whatever. Alright, so that wraps up this episode of Awesome Video Game Memories about Zelda's Adventure. So, Critic, are we good now? Can I not review any crappy CDI games?
Let me think. I've thought about it, and... Dance!
Hey, what's it great?
Oh, I will never get tired of this!
Oh, I think I went in my tooth!
I'm insane!
Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about...
Hello, Ryan!
Oh, what do you want now?
I was thinking it over. I've been pretty hard on you having you review these Zelda CDI games, so I'm sending you to a 5-star hotel.
About time! After reviewing all these shitty Zelda games, I totally deserve a vacation! I'm gonna put on my good hat.
My private ferry is outside waiting for you. Have a good trip.
Thanks, Critic. Hey, are you the Nostalgia Critic's private ferry? Alright. Yo, Mario, Luigi, what's up, guys?
Nice of the princess to invite us over for a picnic, eh, Luigi?
Oh man, after reviewing those horrible Zelda games, the Nostalgia Critic is finally giving me a break. Oh man, I get to room in with Mario and Luigi and the princess in this awesome hotel. Oh my god, no!
Dear pesky plumbers, the Koopalings and I have taken over the Mushroom Kingdom. The princess is now a permanent guest at one of my 7 Koopa hotels. I dare you to find her if you can. We gotta find the princess. And you gotta help us.
Why does it have to always be this way with the Critic? Okay, so welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the game we're going to talk about today is Hotel Mario for the Cdi. Ugh. So if you have Zelda on your system, you gotta have Mario, and I know what you're all thinking. What the fuck were they thinking? Yep, I had to say what the angry video game nerd has been saying for years. Hotel Mario! What the fuck? So, Hotel Mario for the Cdi is a game that kind of plays what it sounds like. Yes, you're Mario and Luigi, and then you have to go to a hotel invited by the princess, but then Bowser and the Koopa kids have taken over all the hotels, and so Mario and Luigi have to stop them. But how? So we're just gonna traverse through the hotels, go through each floor, stomp the Koopa kids, and get out? Not quite. So, let's talk about this first. The cutscenes in this game, yes, are done by the same people who did the Zelda ones, but they actually look pretty decent. Like, they don't go all over the top like Zelda and Link. They just kind of look a little more stiff, but hey, they actually kind of look a little like the cartoon, and the voice acting sounds a lot closer to the cartoon, than all the current Mario voices, but hey, it's pretty decent. It's, Mario has, the New York accent, Luigi wants his pasta, Bowser's laughing, ha ha ha. Yeah. It's actually not too bad. You've probably seen some clips on YouTube and you're like, this game looks pretty smooth. And yes, it actually plays pretty smoothly. It's not like, there's input lag or anything like the Zelda games. It actually plays pretty fast-paced, but the gameplay, oh boy. Let's talk about that gameplay, people. So I bet you're thinking that you have to traverse through like a long hotel level and at the end you fight a boss or find a goal. But nope. You have to close doors. What? You beat levels by closing doors. Nope, you don't beat levels by killing enemies, you don't beat levels by collecting stuff, you don't find a goal at the end. You have to close doors. Like, what the hell? So they just couldn't make, straightforward levels like all the rest of the Mario games. You have to close doors in order to beat the levels. Like, does the Koopa essence come out of the doors, and then you have to close them to contain the essence inside the hotels, and then, the essence poisons people, because this game is fucking poison. So I'll never understand why you have to close doors in this game, but you know what? Whatever. It's playable, it's okay, whatever. Alright, so let's talk about the controls. So, pretty much your entire life playing Mario, this was usually, shoot fireballs, accelerate, the B button, and A buttons jump. Well, Hotel Mario throws that all out the window because on the Cdi controller, your first button is your jump button. Yes, and then your third button is your door opening button. And then you shoot fireballs with the second button. It's like totally in reverse. Like you're playing the game backwards and shit. But you know what? You actually get used to it pretty quickly. Now get this. Now remember when you start off a Mario game, Mario's small, then you have to get a mushroom to make him bigger? Well, when you start off the game, Mario is already big. And then you get a mushroom that actually makes him flash, like he doesn't grow any bigger. And so when you get hit, Mario goes back to normal, which really throws you off because you think, oh, I get a mushroom and then it's gonna make me bigger. Nope, it just makes me take one extra hit. So the sprite animators were too lazy to make Mario into a small version when you get hit or start the game. I mean, this is the Cdi. It has more horsepower than the 16-bit and 8-bit systems. But luckily, you do get fire flowers in this game, but you gotta be very careful because just like all the other Mario games, it's very easy to get hit and lose your firepower. And it's really useful to have a fire flower, trust me, because the enemies in this game are pretty relentless. You get the Goombas, the Koopa Troopas, and then after that, as you advance through the levels, you get the annoying Wrigglers, and those are hard to beat. And then, oh man, the Koopa Kids. Now, when you fight the Koopa Kids at the end of each level, stomping on their heads 3 times, that ain't gonna do it, man. Oh no, you gotta close those doors. And then what sucks about the later parts of the game, the enemies start opening the doors again. I shit you not. The enemies begin to open the doors, undoing all of your hard work. But there's these elevators that you can take to go up and down the floors, but get this. So when you go up in an elevator, you don't exactly leave the elevator until you press the down button on the controller, which can really throw you off because you don't exit right away really fast. And sometimes this actually does help because especially when you're fighting bosses like the Koopa kids, like you can hide in the door so they don't hit you, but eventually you're gonna be forced out the door and they're gonna hit you anyways. Like sometimes the Koopa kids go inside the doors and like eat you up. Wow, they eat Mario in this game. That's pretty morbid, man. And also one huge problem I have with the game, yes, the floors are really, really low. So if you jump up and hit an enemy on a floor above you, you're gonna die. You're gonna get hit. Like, what the fuck? Like, you don't hit the ceiling. It's not like Mario where you bounce and hit the ceiling. Nope, you go through the floor and hit the enemy. Yep, so you gotta be really careful when making jumps in this game. And of course, as the game progresses, the hotels get a lot harder. Like there's an ice hotel where you're constantly slipping all the time, and then there's another hotel where the power keeps going out, so you have to play in the dark. And it's really hard to see in the dark in Hotel Mario. And also, the elevators start getting a lot more random. Like, let's say you go in an elevator on a lower floor, it's gonna put you on an elevator like maybe the second to last to the top floor, and then you gotta memorize these because you gotta close all the doors and then your enemies can open them again, and then you have to memorize where each of the elevators go, and it's really, really annoying. And so you get to the final boss, Iggy Koopa! Holy crap, Iggy was the mastermind all along! But wait, once you beat Iggy, it's Bowser! And holy shit, he is huge in this game and really, really difficult to beat. Actually, you can't beat him. You have to close all the doors and the elevators go all over the fucking place. And holy shit, Bowser is so huge. Like, he takes up like 2 whole floors. So you gotta be careful. You'll get around him. And this is actually where hiding in the doors actually helps. So Bowser like jumps all over the place. And if you actually memorize Bowser's pattern, which you really, really need to memorize, and you can beat him. And so you beat Bowser, you reclaim the hotels and all the room service, and the princess gives you kisses. Can I have one too, princess? Because I know you're not going anywhere with Mario. I've played all the games after this. And you know what? There's a level select code in this game. I did not even know about this until I finished the fucking game. That could have made this game so much more tolerable to beat. There was a level select in this game all along. And I think any sane person would actually beat this game with the level select. So yeah, Hotel Mario for the Philips CDI. This game is pretty funny at times and it has funny animation, but it's not really, really memorable in my opinion. I think you're just better watching the clips on YouTube of this game, but you know what? I recommend just go out and play it. I don't care, get an emulator, buy the system. Luckily, it's not very expensive. It's only $50, or if you work for Channel Awesome, the Nostalgia Critic will send you to a hotel where they pretty much force you to review it. And unknown to us for a very long time, there was a game on the CDI called Mario's Wacky Worlds, which in my opinion should have came out instead of this game. It was kind of an indirect sequel to Super Mario World, and it plays pretty decently. Go check it out. Hold on, I got a message from room service. Wait, why are they charging me for room service? I haven't even gone in the room yet, and I thought they were gonna build a Nostalgia Critic. Critic! Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to check out these other videos, and also make sure to follow me on social media and check out the official Battle Geek Plus website. Take care.